Getting ready to buy or sell a home in 30, 60, or 90 days? Then check out BundleSelect.com to find out how you could save 20% or more on your entire transaction. Save on real estate, lending, and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. Bundle Select's hand-picked team of experts will compete for your business, so you'll save thousands of dollars by bundling all of these services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. By bundling services like real estate, lending, and title, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Act now, and this new model could save you money on your move, lower your interest rate, or cover your closing costs. Visit BundleSelect.com. That's BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker license number 004666902.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you for those tuning in here on Facebook. That continues to grow. We continue to get great feedback. Contact information. Let us know if we have some questions we can answer during the show. Sometimes that could be tough, but if we don't, we'll certainly get back to you after the show and follow up. Continue to do the thing that we always do, and that is focus on education and information. What do I mean? So over 7 years now, the focus of this show, my objective, my passion is to inform and educate you, the consumer, to help really make more wise decisions in and around your real estate. And that could be all kinds of different things: purchasing, buying, selling, financing, construction financing. Do you need help with legal matters, CPA, tax issues, all kinds of different things. That's why we work really hard to have great guests on and build you more and more information. If you'll notice in the show, I'm going to talk about this a lot every once in a while. I like to bring it up because I'd like it to have you, the consumer, compare what you're listening to and what you're watching out there in the marketplace. There is so much noise. I think all of us could agree there's so much noise out there in everything. And specifically, I'm talking about real estate and lending in the industry. What we work really hard here at Real Estate Radio Live is, and I hope that we deliver this on each and every show, is that to deliver you real value in the message. And what I mean by that is, you've heard me say this before, it's really important to repeat from time to time because there's a lot of noise out there. So when you're listening to these podcasts or you're watching these events on Facebook or all these different things, what kind of value are they delivering? Ask yourself that question. What kind of value? Is it value that allows you to be intrigued and engaged and think about, wow, this is great, I didn't know that, or I wasn't sure you could do that, or you know what, I'm going to make that call, or I'm going to make that email, or I'm going to make that introduction, or I'm going to go look at that referral that was referred. Those are the kinds of things you should be looking for. What I see too much in our industry, and not just our industry to be fair, but a lot is these updates, these market updates, or, hey, I'll give you an example. Someone wants to spend 20 minutes to a half an hour talking about, all right, in Santa Clara County, we have 564 listings. It's a tough market. We're having over 20 offers per property, and it's a tough market. Well, most of us know that. It's not a bad idea to give everybody an update and an idea of where the listings are, how many units are sold, and average price. Don't get me wrong. Those are good things to spend maybe a couple minutes on. But then what I think for me, and as a consumer first, and also then delivering this information back to you, the consumer, my fellow consumer, is how could I then offer you solutions to the problems? For instance, if it's a market that has low inventory, how do we help buyers have a better chance to get their offer accepted? How do we help real estate agents figure out how to get that offer accepted? How do we help educate, inform, bring people together to make solutions? Does that make sense? To create solutions for the problems that we're experiencing in the market. For instance, when markets are perfect and everything's going great, most of us don't need solutions. in a market like this, we need solutions. Lenders, realtors, consumers, we need solutions. How do we solve these challenges? And I'm a big proponent, you've heard me say this before, if we have a problem, or if I have a problem, sure, we want to understand it, but we want to create solutions for the problem. We don't want to circle the wagons and talk about the problem all day long and complain about the problem. We want to find out, okay, we're faced with this challenge. We're faced with this issue. In this case, we all know there's a shortage of inventory. There's a lot of people trying to fight for fewer deals. It's a super competitive market. Consumers, if you're selling, it's exciting, but then it's challenging on the other side, right? Because we could look at both sides. As a consumer, if you're selling your house, you're excited because you're going to get a premium for your home. However, most of you know if you have to go buy a home, you're going to be in that same category. You're going to be in that same challenging frustration point where now you are a buyer with less inventory. So it's a dilemma, but here's my take, and here's what's exciting to me is how do we solve these problems? How do we arm people, consumers, real estate agents, lending? How do we arm ourselves with more information, more tools to solve these problems? That's what I'm a big fan of. How do we come together as an industry, help the consumers do the best we can? Is it a perfect world? No. Is everybody going to get the offers? No. We know that. But how do we give ourselves a better chance to win? From the sports background, I love that, is that you practice, you practice, you practice. You rehearse, you rehearse, you rehearse. So then when it's game time, all those things you practice and you rehearsed, you hope that you bring those to the game. And when you show up to the game, whether it's, you're the quarterback or you're pitching the ninth inning or it's a game-winning hit, no matter what it is, those behaviors and habits happen more often for successful people when they practice and they rehearse leading up to the game. So in this case, when we lead up to the game in our industry with getting someone in the contract or finding someone a home or financing someone a home, have we done our work? Have we educated ourselves? Have we armed ourselves with the best information to serve the consumer? And I think all of us should ask that of ourselves each day. Look in the mirror. Have I armed myself with everything I can today to go provide the best service I can to my consumer? Can we say that? Can each of you say that? Can we say that every day? If you can, then that means you're working every day at trying to come up with solutions. You're trying to evolve. You're also understanding that markets change. You're also understanding that consumer habits change. You're understanding that consumers are more informed and educated. You hear me say this all the time, but the reason I do is that we as an industry still have not caught up with the consumer and their expectations, their wants. We're playing catch up. And so I think as a group, you get together, you find someone, whether it's a company, an organization, whatever you're doing, surround yourself with people that understand what's happening now, what's the future hold, what are consumers' needs, what are their wants, how do we fulfill them? Is it perfect? No. Will it ever be perfect? No. But we do have the ability to work every day to deliver to what the consumers want and what their expectations are and not what we want. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this. Other industries do a better job than we do. This is a consumer-driven economy. For those out there that don't think so, for those out there think that, you know what, this industry's always been the same, it will stay the same, I don't care what anybody says, this is what my service is, this is what I charge, this is the way it is, wake up. It's changing all the time. It's changing all the time. It's not bad. It's good. If things didn't change, we'd be still doing the same things we were doing 15, 20 years ago the same way. So it's good. So you have to adapt. You have to change. The reason I start this way is the show today is about how do we look at solutions to help people have more purchasing power when they're out to buy a home. We're going to talk about that first. Secondly, in the second part of the show, I want to talk more, and then how do you secure a lower interest rate in an environment where rates are going up? You might say, I don't know, how do I do that? Well, we're going to talk about some of the solutions. We're going to talk about some of the options. We're going to talk about some things that are out there available to you, the consumer, and to real estate agents and to lenders to think out of the box and know that there's other ways to do this. So let's talk first about how do you give yourself or provide more purchasing power in a purchase, okay? Let me walk through this as simple as I can, and that is, let's just say, for instance, you're qualified, you're approved, you've been underwritten for a $1 million purchase, and you're happy with that. You'd like to go to 1.1 or 1.2, but you've only been approved to 1 million. So you've gone through conventional financing or approval, I should say. You're working with a person who says you're good to go, and you're approved to $1 million loan amount. I'm sorry. Either way, $1 million loan amount, $1 million purchase, really doesn't matter. Let's just say it's a $1 million purchase with an $800,000 loan amount. You're putting 20% down for sake of our conversation today. And you're approved. You're approved for $800,000. You can make a purchase to $1 million. You're good to go. But the lender tells you, say, well, gee, I'd really like to, we found this house that's 1.1. And you go to your lender, and the lender says, I'm sorry. The maximum debt-to-income ratio, DTI, that's what they refer to, debt-to-income ratio, is 43, and we're at 42.995. We can't go any higher. We just can't go any higher. And you're going, oh, God, I wish there was another way. Is there another way? Yes, there are other ways. There are other ways. So let me take you through a couple different options, and it may or may not apply to you. So there are other investors that will go, first of all, that will take debt-to-income ratios higher than 43. Some will go all the way up to 50. I've seen some go all the way up to 55. Now, here's the thing about this, okay? So you do have more buying power. You do have more buying power. The terms might be a little bit different. The interest rate will be a little bit higher typically anytime you go into that bracket. However, if you truly want to get into a property and you want to stretch your purchasing power, there are ways to do it. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't educated, or they don't take the time to align themselves with other investors or other people to try to help you to do this. I could give you hundreds of examples. I'll just give you a couple. So that's one of them right there. If you're working with me and you're at 43 and you said, I really want this house for 1.1 million, Joe, how could I do it? I'd say, okay, let's sit down. Let me give you some examples of how you can do this. Here's how you could do it. I have an investor that will go, instead of 43, they'll go up to 50% DTI. In order to get that way, that'll give us under $100,000. Now you're at $900,000 loan amount. Now you could buy that the $1.2 million home, right? So this is a solution to the problem. Now, some people might say, yeah, but Joe, I want that low, less, the best interest rate in the market. I understand. But if you want more purchasing power, right, you might have to pay a little higher interest rate for a couple of years, maybe do a short-term loan. In some cases, I have a lot of people, I'll talk to them about this. I'll sit down and say, listen, the rate's a little bit higher, but here's the good news. We'll do a short-term loan for you, maybe fixed for 5 or 7 years. And we talk about their income, what their expectations are over the next couple of years. And I'll say, what kind of income are you making? Typically people will say something like this, well, I should be getting some raises in a year or so. And a lot of times in the Silicon Valley, you hear this, I should be getting some more stock options, and I should be able to exercise some of those. So, Joe, in the next couple of years, I'll be making a lot more income, or I'll have some additional cash. Great. Let's put together a strategy where you could come back a year, 2 years from now, where you could refinance this, lower the loan amount, get you a better interest rate, or get you into a longer fixed term loan, maybe, if that's what you want. But you solve the first problem. The first problem is, how do I get into the home that I want at 1.1 million? Now, someone might say, hey, I don't want to do that. Let me give the devil's advocate. Let me give the other side so we can play both of these, right? So let's say someone says, I say, I have a solution for that. And someone says, well, that's great, Joe, but I don't want to pay a little higher interest rate. I don't want to do that. And I say, fine, that's okay. But if you're willing to give up the opportunity to buy this house for 1.1 million, and you don't go into contract, and you don't make this adjustment, so you don't get that home, guess what? In 2 or 3 years from now, that same house could be worth 1.2 or 1.3. I don't know that for sure, but in markets like this, you've heard me say this all the time, get in. Just get in. Get in any way you can, responsibly, by the way, not irresponsibly. If you could afford it, get in. So that's one way. Another way is, a lot of people don't think about this, but it doesn't matter what age you are. You could do asset depletion or use assets to give yourself more income. A lot of people don't understand this, but you can. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you have additional assets, and let's just say you have your 20% down payment, and again, same scenario where you had $1 million purchase, you want to go to a 1.1. And we look at this and we say, gosh, technically you're at 43. We can get you a little, Joe, but I really don't want a higher interest rate. Okay, well, how about this? I notice you have X amount of money over here. You have $1 million or $1.5 million in investment or retirement or something. We could potentially use that. We could look at some of that income. It's called asset depletion or asset distribution, or we could look at income for distribution. We could potentially, depending on the situation, give you more income. Well, how do you do that? There's a system in which we could look at those assets and say, we need another $800 a month income to make this work. How do we do it? If we could use those assets and create an additional $800 a month for income, we could make this deal work. That's a solution to a problem. That's a solution to a problem. These are the types of things that can be done, and these are the types of things that we should be talking about in a market like this. We shouldn't be spending a lot of time about rubbing our heads and headaches and frustration about why the market is this way. We should be spending our time and energy and resources on how do we make adjustments so that we could better facilitate our consumers in a market like this. That's the type of conversations we should be having. Purchasing power. How do you give yourself more purchasing power? If you're out there today listening to us on Facebook, or later on you're listening to this, I know thousands of you will be listening to this on a podcast, give me a call. Check in. If you're not sure, if someone's telling you you can't do this, don't just take that one recommendation. It's just like if you go to the doctor, you hear this all the time, get a second opinion. If you have a serious illness, you're not quite sure what's going on and you don't feel quite well, what do they always tell you? Get a second opinion. If you're working with someone and they seem very limited to you, whether they're a real estate agent or lender, and they're just not thinking outside the box, and they're just not sitting down and saying, let's formulate a plan. Let's look at option A, but if option A doesn't work, what about option B or C? If you're not working with the right people, find the right people that can help you. So if you're listening to this podcast, or you're listening to this, or you're watching this on Facebook, and you're in a situation where you're either out there trying to buy right now or sell, or you're thinking about in the near future going to be doing this, give me a call. Check in. Let's figure out how do we make this happen. Don't let the media, the industry, and other people tell you can't do something. Don't let them tell you you can't afford it in some ways. Now, they could be right. Sometimes they could be right. I'm not saying every time someone suggests that you can't afford it, that it's not the truth. It could be. But before you give up, or before you decide you can't make that purchase, give it a try. I could give you 20 or 30 examples over the last year of people. We just did it with 2 other people we helped this week get in the contract that thought they could never purchase the home that they purchased. 3 months ago, they came to me and they said, I don't think I could do this. I'm told I can't do this. And we spent some time. We put together a plan. We looked at some different strategies. And guess what? Both these people are now in contract on a purchase that they didn't think they could do 3 months ago. This happens all the time. This happens all the time. When you have expectations or you don't have expectations of people you're working with, especially in such a important decision in your life like purchasing a home, you hear people say it all the time, it's the single most expensive thing typically most people will do. Well then, shouldn't you be working with the right people to make that decision? And shouldn't you be working with people that are using all their resources and everything to their ability to help you make those decisions? If you meet with someone and they spend 10 or 15 minutes with you and they say, sorry, doesn't look like it's going to work. Don't get me wrong. It could be true. Maybe that's true. But don't leave it at that. If you think that there is a chance that you could make a purchase or you could sell your home and have a strategy to go buy another home, meet with some additional people, get a second or third opinion on that because there could be some options. There really could. These are some examples of how you increase your purchasing power. I'm going to take a break in a minute. When I come back, I'm going to talk more about purchasing power, some different strategies about more purchasing power. Then I'm going to get in some detail about how do you go about making a purchase without selling your current home, which is a big deal right now in today's market. And we're also going to talk about how do you also lower your interest rate in an environment where interest rates are going up. How strategically will you do that? This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Stick with us. If you're streaming on Facebook, we'll be back with you in just a minute to continue the show.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Getting ready to buy or sell a home in 30, 60, or 90 days? Then check out BundleSelect.com to find out how you could save 20% or more on your entire transaction. Save on real estate, lending, and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. Bundle Select's hand-picked team of experts will compete for your business, so you'll save thousands of dollars by bundling all of these services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. By bundling services like real estate, lending, and title, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Act now, and this new model could save you money on your move, lower your interest rate, or cover your closing costs. Visit BundleSelect.com. That's BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker license number 004-66902.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Today we are talking about how to increase your home purchasing power, and I'm going to get into a little bit about how do you get a lower interest rate in an environment where interest rates are rising. First, I'm going to talk kind of in line with more purchasing power. I gave you some examples real quickly again. 43% debt-to-income ratio. You'll hear that a lot in our industry. A lot of people will say, I'm sorry, we can't go any higher than that. That is true with some investors and most investors. There are a lot of investors that will go higher. Some will go to 50, some will go to 55. I've seen some real interesting things depending on the profile. My point is there are other options out there. Don't settle for someone telling you that you could only go to a certain debt-to-income ratio. If you want other opinions, let us know. Give us a call. You know how to reach me, RERadiolive.com or 408-838-9060. During the week, give me a call. Let me know. A lot of ways to increase that purchasing power. In a market like this, take every advantage you can. I'm going to talk now for a couple of minutes about having the ability to buy a home without selling your home. This comes up every single day. It's probably the biggest challenge that I'm seeing in the marketplace right now. The single biggest challenge is people say, Joe, this is a challenge. I don't want to sell my house before I find a house because I want to find the right house. But I can't do that because everybody's telling me I have to make a non-contingent offer. What do I do? So if you're working with some people would say, forget it. Don't even do it. Don't put your house on the market, or don't try to make an offer unless you can make a non-contingent offer. That's a very narrow way of thinking. There are other ways to do it. I just helped someone this week. This was a great example. Let me give you the situation. They wanted to put a non-contingent offer in on a house that's roughly $1.8 million purchased. They have a home that they were selling that's going to be worth probably go for $1.1. They had some good equity. They owned really a little less than $400,000 on, so they had some good equity. So what did we do? They came to me and we talked about it. They said, how do we do this? We really want this house. I said, well, here are some other options. We talked about a couple of different options. A bridge loan was one. The other one was cross-collateralization. And they've looked at me like, and these are very intelligent people, like, what are you talking about? What's cross-collateralization? So I walked them through it. Here's what we were able to do for them. We took their current property. They had good equity in it, okay? The only requirement was we said, okay, can you put 10% down of your own money? Do you have that available without selling your house? Yes, I do. So this client had at least $180,000 for 10% down. Then we looked at their exiting property, and there was enough equity in that property to take a 25% position in that, a 25% equity position. So we were able to leverage the equity of their exiting property to then leverage a down payment, finance the entire amount for the purchase. Now, as I walk through this, remember, you still have to qualify. So not everybody has the ability to qualify, but this gets even better. This is a great example of talking about strategies. So then we said, so this transaction is going to take this client to be able to do upwards of almost a $2 million loan to transition into this because we're leveraging the other property. And typically they wouldn't be able to afford it. They were a little bit short with the 43 debt-to-income ratio, but you know why? Here's the other thing. This particular client had RSUs, restricted stock units. Most lenders, unless you have a track record of using those and executing, will not allow you to use those for income. Some will. You have to know who they are. Okay? So most people would look at this income and say, that's all you have. We looked at their restricted stock units, and we found an investor that accepted those as income. We increased their income almost 35% more by using the restricted stock units. What did that do? This allowed this client to then get approved and qualify for that cross-collateralization project and the loan that we did for them. They're able to buy the house that they wanted, non-contingent. Okay? So now here's what's going to happen. They borrow the money, they qualify, they buy the house. The loan amount's larger, right? Follow me here. So loan amount's almost $2 million total because now they're leveraging both. Once their home sells, and it's going to sell quick, they're going to take that equity from their home when they sell it. And it's roughly, I think the numbers bear it out. I think it was going to be about, $700,000-800,000, something like that, maybe $750,000. So when that home sells, they're going to take that $750,000 and they're going to buy down that loan, and they're going to end up with a loan of about 1.25. Done. Complete. Exciting. Now, this is something that came together because someone was willing to look at options to get into a home and have the ability of purchasing that home without technically having theirs sold. Does this work for everybody? No. But I could tell you right now, there's a lot of people out there that are looking to buy homes that have a lot of equity in the home that they're looking to sell. And a lot of people don't know how to structure this. A lot of people are nervous to even bring up this conversation with people. You know why? Because it's not a traditional black and white cookie cutter conversation. These are the things you have to understand when you're in a market like this. So this is what I was talking about when I opened the show. This was an example. These are just some examples. I don't have time to go over the different examples, all the different ones. These are some examples of what you could do out there if you want to leverage more purchasing power, if you want to try to buy a house without selling your home. And we're going to talk briefly now about lowering the interest rate. These are some of the things you could do, but you have to sit down and work with someone that's creative and that has your best interest at hand. That's what you need to do. These are real solutions to market challenges. Remember, these are real solutions to market challenges. This is how you attack the market like this. This is how you approach a market like this. You don't approach it sitting on your hands. You don't approach it saying this is a terrible market, just wait it out. You approach it with knowledge, information, power, and execution. These are some examples of what you could do. I encourage you, if you're listening to this podcast or, again, watching it on Facebook, give me a call. If you think there's some strategies out there that you're missing and you haven't been fulfilled, or you felt like maybe you haven't been delivered or honestly talked about these types of options, give me a call. Check in. We'll see if we can help you. All right, before we duck out today, interest rates. How do you get a lower interest rate in an environment where interest rates are going up? Most of us know the interest rates are going up. The Fed just raised again the prime by a quarter. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Rates are going up. They are. Most of us acknowledge that. We know that. So what do you do? So this is another concern that's in the marketplace right now. People are hesitating. They're going, oh, my gosh, Joe, I hate to sell my home. I got this 3.5% interest rate. Interest rates are 1% higher, 4.5% roughly. Oh, I hate to do this. Okay, what other solutions do we have? Do we have any other solutions? Yes, we do. If you structure a transaction where you could get some credit from the real estate side or the lending side, and you could use that credit to buy down your interest rate. I just did this with a client 2 weeks ago. We had enough credit in this transaction, and some people might be listening to this they might be saying, this is what I'm hearing. Well, I bet you 10 to 1, a lot of people hear this and go, oh, no one gives credit in markets like this. That's not true. It's not true. There's ways to get credit. You just have to understand who you're working with. There are ways to get credit on the real estate side and the lending side. So you use that credit strategically to buy you down your interest rate. I just helped a client 2 weeks ago on a purchase. He ended up with a loan amount of 1.2, and we were able to use the credit from the real estate and the lending credit that we negotiated for them and saved him nearly $400 a month on his payment by buying down the interest rate. $400 a month, nearly $400 a month by strategically putting together a plan to buy down the consumer's interest rate in a market where the interest rates are going up. These are the things, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be aware of. If we're in this industry, lending real estate, we should be advocating solutions for you. We shouldn't be backing away saying, you can't do this, don't do it, sit on the sidelines. Ultimately, if you want to, that's fine. What I'm suggesting is work with a team of people that are going to help you create solutions, look at options, and maybe at the end of the day when you look at all these options, they still don't work. And that's okay. I say this all the time. If you look at all your options, it doesn't work, then at least what? What is the great part about that? Is that you now walk away or you make a decision based on looking at all your options. You can't look back, or you won't look back typically and go, God, I wish if I only knew about that bridge loan, if I only knew about buying down the interest rate, if someone only told me about cross-collateralizing a property. These are the types of things that you as a consumer deserve and you should be aware of. And we have those for you. We have those for you. Contact me during the week. You heard before. Also, go to bundleselect.com. That's bundleselect.com. You can find out more about the creative ways we're helping people with financing and real estate and coming into the 21st century and how we put together a strategy to help people get to that next stage and where they want to be. Do you want to purchase the house? Do you want to move up? Do you want to be able to buy a house without selling your home? Do you want the ability to lower your interest rate, to drive it down so that you could have an interest rate possibly in the 3% range again? You could. If you put together a strategy to do so, you could have that. We're going to have to finish up, unfortunately. Again, as usual, thank you so much for those tuning in at Facebook. Thank you for those following the show, listening to the show. For more information, you could always go to RERadiolive.com. And don't forget to go check out bundleselect.com. That's bundleselect.com. A lot of good things are happening. For you, the consumer, we're putting things together to make it easier for you to do your real estate lending transactions. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Until next time, take care and have a great day.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.